Mom and I had chat.
Yeah, we did.
We kind of got a little thing going. And Dean's going to take it from here.
Okay. Hello all. I'll introduce myself properly in a moment. So just the order of play. There'll be a speech from me, a speech from Laura. Okay. But first, I've caught Tim by surprise, but Tim is going to do a quick toast to the bride and groom and get us underway. Okay.
I'm Tim. I'm Miriam's father of the bride. So I'd like to toast both of them. Long life and happiness. Amen.
Well done, Tim. Thank you.
That's why it's good you
Shall I,
did.
I'm going to stand by you guys. I'm going to take the photo. I'm going to use that in there. Okay. Okay. As you can you all hear me at the back of the room first of all? Yeah. Okay. So let's just deal with the obvious thing. I'm not from around here. Neither is my brother. So I'll try to be as slow and clear as I can, but I appreciate you might miss a few words. I may use a few terms that you may not recognize, but I'll do my best to translate into American if I can. My name's Dean. Okay, I'm Lee's brother and best man. I'm going to talk about my family, where we come from. I'll talk about Lee, of course, and then I'll pass on to Laura, and Laura will give Mim a bit of a roast, hopefully. I don't know how British humour translates over here, so I'm going to just play it cool, tell some stories about this great guy here, and I'll pass you on, okay? I'm going to have to refer to a couple of notes, so I'm not being rude and using my phone, but otherwise I'll ramble, and if I ramble, you all understand what I'm saying, okay? Can you all understand me first of all? So it's usually when I do a speech, I've done a few speeches in my time, and normally I'd welcome you all to the wedding, but that seems a bit odd because I'm not from here. So, but anyway, look, welcome. Thanks for coming. It seems a bit weird to say that. Okay, it's an all-American, it's a transatlantic wedding. It's a great occasion. I've travelled, he has travelled, and there's a lot of people who've travelled in, so that's the best thing about a wedding. So thanks for coming in, making this a special occasion for these two great people, okay? I'm going to just highlight two important items, okay? And hold this one and talk about it in a minute. You would have seen this one as you went into the chapel, okay? There's some really important people in this photo that are with us, okay? I wanted to bring it across into the room so that they're here with us, all right? So, look, there's people there that are part of our family and others that are part of Lim's family or friends, and I'll need to ask you who they are so I can understand who they are. But for those who don't know the guys from our side, come and talk to me after, or talk to Lee and we'll tell you about them. It's a lovely homage to those who can't attend. But if we talk about them, it's as if they're here, in my opinion, okay? We've got a custom in the UK, I don't know if you guys do it here, where we raise a special toast to those that aren't with us, okay? So, I know we just had a toast, but if we can raise a glass to people that aren't here, but are in our hearts and minds, to absent friends and family. Thank you very much. It's a good thing it's in champagne and you're drunk, right? Okay, this one, I know you guys can't see this, but take a look after, okay? This is our family. We've got my wife and my children here, my sister, my brother-in-law, nieces and nephews, okay? These are people from back home who really wanted to come today, but just couldn't make it, okay? It's quite a long trip, and we've got youngsters, and it wasn't possible to get them over here, okay? But I want you to come and see them, and, you know, ask us about them. They're lovely people, okay? These are our family, and we love them dearly, okay? So, where are we from? We're from a place called, so we're from Wales. A lot of people don't know where Wales is. A lot of folks think that we're part of England, but we're not. We're a country in our own right. So we sit in between Ireland and England. Okay, about 4 million people live there, and me and him as well. We've got our own little language that we speak. We've got our own little government, and we're a very proud nation, like any other nation. Okay, so we live in a coastal city called Swansea. It's a lovely little city. There's about 250,000 people that live there. We live near the beach. We've got hills and mountains to the back. Lovely rolling hills. We've got farmland. Not as much farmland as you've got here. But it's not all that different. I mean, the people are lovely and it's a nice community feel. Coming here is such a vast place for people like me and Lee. Keep talking this thing behind you. It feels different to come to a place like this. It can be a little overwhelming sometimes. I don't know if you felt the same thing. It's such a big place, and we have to learn to speak a little differently, a bit slower as well. And then the way you do things are different. But what I will say is, we've been made, well, I mean, I'll speak for myself, but I think that you feel the same way. Everybody I've spoken to so far has been nice and gentle and polite and made me feel welcome. And within, I'd say, a few hours of landing, I felt really safe and settled. So thank you all for making me and my brother feel welcome. If anyone's ever in Swansea, you'll say that, I don't know what you'll be doing there, but you might be there soon. So. Okay. All right. What am I doing next? Okay. So that's where we come from. My father is named Martin. Mother Susan. They got married in 1980 in July of that year. Bought their first house on a busy road. I won't pronounce it because you won't understand what it is. It's a Welsh word. And they're still there. That's where they live now. Okay. I came along a year later in 1981. Don't do the math. Okay. Sister Kelly in 83. And then a gap. Quite a big gap until this young man came along. So I was 9 years old when my mother came into my bedroom and said, I'm pregnant, we're gonna have a baby, there'll be a little baby in the house, a new brother or sister. And it's weird, up until the age of 9, I've got fragmented memories of my childhood. It was a lovely, happy childhood. It's a happy household, it still is. Scant memories of holidays or Christmas time or vacations. When my mother told me that we were having a brother or sister, something snapped, and everything since is really vivid in my mind. It's a really strange thing to describe, but I can remember everything from that day with quite good clarity, and it's all quite colourful. So 9 months after that, so there's a nine years and 9 months gap between us, call it 10 years, Lee was coming along, so I remember the day like it was yesterday. It was a Saturday, April 20th, 91. Dad was at work. He still is a hard-working guy. He was working in a production factory. Mum came down and said, look, it's time, I'm going to the hospital because the little baby's coming. So Kelly, my sister, and I were taken to my aunt and uncle's house. And I thought, okay, I'll just wait and see what happens. I think within 2 hours he came along, so the call came in and I had a baby brother. So I was thrilled. I had this really sort of energetic feeling. I was proud, I was happy, I was emotional. I grabbed my sister, she would have been only 7 at the time. And we had a little cry and a hug. And I wanted to go. I said, look, take me to see him, but it wasn't possible to go straight away. I had to go to a soccer match. And I loved my soccer back then, but I just wanted to get it done to go and see him, to go meet him. So that evening, we went along and there he was. My little brother, my pride and joy. I had a tremendous sense of, I don't know, he's sort of my responsibility. I'm the big brother. I held him. He was a small little baby, and I started to get emotional. And is he crying yet? And there he was. That was it. I had a big brother. So everything was very clear from that point on. And there's a big stretch of time where, you know, we grew up together. We were a lovely close family. We didn't fight. We never argued. I can remember being given jobs to help clothe, like getting dressed, to feed him. We were involved in helping raise him from an early age. It was a great responsibility to have. He was a lovely baby. He was a big baby. You were a big baby. He was full of smiles, full of laughter and chuckles. We were able to help him learn to walk. My parents involved us in that. We helped him up. He took his steps. It was great. Learning words, learning a few bad words, which I got in trouble for one time. You know, we were involved. It was great. So, not that I'm too protective over him, but I like to put my arm around him. He's my baby brother, and he always will be. So, okay, that's that one. I'll fast forward a bit. There's a gap in time because it was just fun. When I got to the age of 17, I had a part-time job back home in a bar, and the guys I worked with were all a bit older than I. They were 18, 19 years old. I was still 17, so they were going on this like a boys, we call it a boys holiday, a boys vacation, where they go into like Spain or Greece, and it would be like drunk and clubbing, going to clubs and bars. And I wanted to go, so I saved all my money up, and I said to my dad, look, can I go on this trip with these boys? And he said, you can't go, you're too young, you're 17. You're coming with us on a family holiday to this resort back in England. And I didn't want to go, I was growing up, and I thought I want to go with my friends, but he wouldn't let me. So he kind of made me go on this trip with a family, with Leah, with Kelly, and I was a bit loath, a bit reluctant to go. It turned into the best holiday I've ever had. If you remember, I had all this money saved up to go on a drinking trip, but I wasn't allowed to go on that trip. So we ended up spending a week in the arcades playing games. What was the game we played? House of the Dead, a zombie game with guns, which is as close as they let us get the guns back in the UK. I just remember it being, you know, I feel like, why did I not want to go? And then it turned into be the best trip I ever had, because it was just me and him hanging out together for a week. So I'll always remember that trip. It was one of my favourites. When I get to my 20s, I start to grow up and rebel a bit. I mean, we were tight. We were always tight. We shared a bedroom. We listened to music together. We watched TV and film together. But you know how it is when you get to 20 and you start going out and meeting other people, rebelling a bit. I was a bit rebellious. You might not know about that, but I look back on this and I regret it, because I started to sort of step away from this happy household. I was renting my own place with my friends, and there's a period of time where I didn't see him as much as I used to. We went from sharing a bedroom to me moving out and having my own place, and I'd go and visit from time to time, so I didn't see him all that often. I won't get too deep into this, but you started having a bit of trouble in school, and I didn't know about it until afterwards. I didn't realise the effect it was having on him, and I wasn't there to listen, and we didn't really get into it that much, but I know there was a period where you had a hard time.
I remember being upset that you moved out.
Yeah, so it was okay. Try that. Yeah, so I was living in this house with a bunch of guys. We're all in different like rock bands. We thought we were the coolest guys in town. And we had all the gear set up in the house. My parents came to me one day and said, we're a bit worried about Lee. He's like quiet, and he kind of stays in his bedroom, and he's playing his games and just eating cookies all the time. He doesn't really do much. He doesn't get out of the house. And can you suggest? I mean, can you help us out? What can we do? So I said, look, just bring him down. I mean, he can hang out with me and the guys, and he'd have been about 14, and they said that's not really acceptable. They said, yeah. So I tell you what, I'll just free up some time on a Saturday. You know, I'll sober up, get the party up my head, bring him down, and I'll take him out, and we'll just hang out. We'll listen to music like we used to. They really wanted him to get into something like an activity, like a sport. So I said, okay, bring him down. So I got my shorts on and my trainers, and I said, just dress him in some, like a tracksuit or whatever. And they just left me with him one afternoon on a Saturday. So I took him down to, we live I was living by the beach. We got a long promenade near us. And I took him running, like jogging, yeah? And we ran about from here to the chapel. I looked back and he was just bent over double. So, okay, I nearly killed him. So running was out of the question. So I thought, what else can we do? I'll just maybe do some soccer practice. So I took him to play soccer. And I did it for a few weeks, but you're a bit flat-footed. So it didn't work out. What can I do with this kid? He needs to do something. He doesn't like running and he's not really into soccer. So I was at a loss. Back at the house, like I said, I lived with a bunch of guys, like 4 or 5 guys, and we had guitars in the kitchen and speakers. We were all in different bands. We used the kitchen as a practice room, and there's a drum kit there. One of the guys, Denzel, had a drum kit in the kitchen. And I was making a drink or a coffee, and he just sort of wandered behind me and picked up the sticks and sat down. And drumming's a hard technique to pick up. You're doing 4 or 5 different things at once. I've never seen anyone sit at a drum kit first time and play it. But he did that, he picked up the sticks. What were you, 14, 15 years old? Without any mentoring or tutoring from me. I can't play drums. But without anyone telling him what to do, he just played a beat which was in time, and he was in rhythm. And I thought, this is it. This is the thing. You know, my dad's not going to build a drum kit in the house. This is the thing. We just started playing it. You know, so I told my dad, and my parents are great people. If I said I want to build a rocket, they'll help me build a rocket. Those are the kind of people they are. So I said, look, this guy's got a talent or a knack for the drums. They got him set up with some drum lessons. My dad built him a shed in the garden for his new drum kit. I hope there's a way that you guys can somehow see him play the drums one day, because for me, he's the best drummer I've ever seen. And I've played with lots of drummers, and I've seen lots of drummers, but this guy's got a bit of a Ringo Starr style to him. You might not think Ringo Starr's the most technical drummer from the Beatles, but he's got a swagger and a rhythm that no one can match. But this guy is almost there. I can't wait for you to see it properly. Not you can't love him anymore, but he'll get that much hotter. But yeah, this guy has got a real talent, and I love playing with him. We're still in a band together. It's my pleasure to be in a band with this guy. He's a cool guy. He was getting good on the drums. I was into it. I was in a band with my friends, and our drummer left the band. And I said, we're fine, we're covered, look, you've got a drummer here. And now, I'm 10 years older, the guys in my band were just a little bit older, so they thought he was too young and too inexperienced. And they were a bit unsure. And I said, I've got this guy's back, he is going to be the best drummer in town. And I said, look lads, it's either him or I'm out of the band as well. I'm gonna go with him. So I threatened to leave the band just to get him in, because I knew he had potential, and they let him in. And we've been in bands for what, 20 years since? Yeah, we've done shows all over the UK. So yeah, best drummer in town. So we fast forward a bit. He's quite a private guy. He doesn't really let on or tell us much. He doesn't tell me everything anyway. So I didn't know about him straight away. Not many of us did back home. But he came to me one day and said, I've got a girlfriend. And I said, okay, all right, good. I've never heard you say those words before, but that's over the moon. I said, how did you meet? He said, I met her online on the internet. I said, okay, that's normal these days. I said, where's she from? She lives in America. Okay. All right, okay. So it wasn't a plan at the time. I thought, oh, that's great. I'm fully behind you. I can't wait to meet her one day, and I'm sure she's great, you know. If Lee says she's the one, then she's the one. Where was I going to go with that point then? Not sure. It's important to know back home, we're all fully behind this, okay? What I've observed since you've been together, and I marvel at the way you've done this, the distance and the time you've spent apart, the patience and the trust that takes is unsurpassed. For me, those are the 2 cornerstones of a marriage, in my opinion. And I think you've already shown that in abundance. and you're halfway, maybe all the way to doing it. It's great. It's why we're all here today, in my opinion. The other thing that we needed to see back home was how you two were together, which we couldn't see. We could see you on the phone, it was not the same. I'm here now and I've seen it. And from the moment that you picked me up in the car and we went for the steak, and the way you were interacting and embracing and you're so tactile together, it's like you've never been apart. I tell that back to my family, and that rests their minds. Not that they were worried, but it's the final thing, the final piece of the jigsaw. You know, how are they together? And I've said to them, look, they're a couple. They're a perfect couple. You know, they've got the patience, the trust, they embrace. They're not shy about it. I said they're kindred spirits. You know, to pick up after what's it been, 3 years since you've seen each other.
Since the last time.
So to pick up where you left off, like that, for me, means, what are you, kindred spirits? But it's more than that. To be that far apart for so long, and to have that trust and that patience, and for it to click straight away, for me is the true definition of soulmates. So I'm thrilled to be here. I'm so proud to see my brother get married to a beautiful girl like Mim. I'm going to end it there because I've spoken for quite a while. I'm not going to toast you. My parents are going to toast you. I've got a few words from my dad. It won't take long if you could just hear me for a second. Okay? So this is from my mother and father. Should I do his voice?
Oh, guys, no, don't understand you.
I could do an English voice and really upset him.
You best stick to what you're doing.
Okay. I'll have to read from a phone. Bear with me. Okay, so my father says, my mother, to all of you, hi everyone. Just a few lines from the father of the groom. I won't bore you with a long, drawn-out speech, unlike the woman in Mim's graduation. Okay, as you hear these words, see myself and all the family are back in Wales celebrating with you. Okay, they're partying back there. We hope you've all had a fantastic day and that everything's gone as planned. We are honoured to be able to welcome Mim and all her family into the Anthony clan. Clan is, do you use that word, clan here?
Yeah.
Okay, it's been a long transatlantic relationship between Lee and Mim, but from the start, there's only been one person for him. He's been smitten with her from the start and never stopped talking about her. We've been so fortunate to have been blessed with a beautiful, caring daughter-in-law, Gemma, which is my wife, a great, reliable son in Daniel, which is Kelly's husband, and now Mim, you'll become another beautiful, caring daughter-in-law to add to our fortunes as Lee's wife. We can't wait until the day you get here. We're all looking forward to meeting you, and he looks forward to your date in Queens. Okay? That's it from me, everyone. Enjoy your day. Diolch, which is Welsh for thank you. And lastly, can I please ask you to stand, if you can, and raise a glass to the beautiful bride and groom, to Lee and Mim. To Lee and Mim. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you.
All right. For those of you who haven't met me yet, my name is Laura Howard. I grew up with Mim. We were in Girl Scouts together, had a lot of elementary school classes together, marching band together, did a lot of things growing up throughout high school. In a lot of ways, she's like a sister to me, a sister I never had. And I'm just so grateful that I'm able to be here to share this date with you. I did do some research because I've never been a matron of honor, and specifically what I found was the big difference between a maid of honor and a matron of honor, outside of being married as that individual, is that you get to give a spin on the speech with providing some marriage advice, coming from a place of wisdom, so to speak. So I thought I would kind of play off of that and also give Lee a little bit of insight into some things that might help him as you guys start down this journey on marriage and what it's like to be Mim's best friend, because I think that's important. So Lee, I'm officially passing that torch on to you. You're fully in charge of her. Whatever happens from here on out is your fault if it doesn't go right. One of the first things I think you need to know, Lee, is that she is a very strong-willed and confident individual. You can probably blame my mother for that as our Girl Scout troop leader. She made sure that we were all instilled with a sense of who we were and being able to speak for ourselves and to know what we wanted and to attain those things. And ultimately, if she's convinced she's right, it's probably going to be easier for you to just concede to that.
Oh, I know all about that.
Okay, good. So you're already aware of this. So if she's right, even if you don't necessarily agree, she's still right. Okay, good. We got that one out of the way. Another thing that I think you might appreciate knowing about Mim is that she's always needed a little bit of grounding in her life. When we were kids, that was probably because we were out all day playing in the creek and then walking and wandering 3 miles away from home after dark in the rain. No one could find us because it was time for cell phones. And our mothers went out to find us, and we both subsequently ended up being grounded. Luckily, as an adult, you're not going to have to ground her, I hope. But she's certainly an individual who could use a grounding, stable force in her life. And over the last few years, I know that you have been that for her, despite the miles apart that you guys have been. So, I think that if you keep that up, you'll continue to be able to do that. I just want to give you a hug right now. So a different kind of grounding, but it's something she's used to. So you have that going for you already. Another thing is that Mim has a tendency to take things at her own pace. Those of you who have watched her over the years as she's worked towards getting her college degree know that sometimes things don't happen according to a traditional plan, but they always happen, and they happen in the moments and in the time space they need to. And I think that's another thing that's important to know about Mim, is that she's going to figure it out no matter what that path is, and as soon as she's ready for it to happen, it's going to happen. Again, that whole strong-willed, confident is coming up. More than anything else, and I think you already know this, is that she tries really hard to live life to the fullest. She loves to laugh. And so I would encourage you to expect the unexpected and don't take anything for granted. Okay. One final piece of advice I have as a matron would be to just collect memories rather than things and to cherish one another. Don't take anything for granted, which I know with your specific circumstances has very much been the case, and I know that you guys don't. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I want to end with one final quote. Love is a lot like a friendship that has caught fire. And my hope for you is that your love will burn bright for years to come. So, I don't have my glass with me, it's out of water, but here's to my best friend and her new best friend. Congratulations. Switch seats there. I got a little bit of tears out of you, that's what I wanted.
So should we place the background music?
Yeah.
Hey, man, these are cards, they're gift cards, or cards and a guest book from everybody in Wales.
Okay.